Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Maria from Under the Night Moon, and I'm here to do another flip through for you from this collection. Oh my gosh, the little dollies I am in love with. And I'm using the absolutely gorgeous papers from the ThePixieDustFiles and other beautiful papers as well, just from my collection that I have in my studio here. And this one is covered with wallpaper. Well, they both are actually. This one is larger than the little one I just did a video of, and I will show you. I just did a flip through of this little one, and you can see the wallpaper here. But this one is a little larger, and I did make a little collage of fabrics on the spine. Some of this antique fabric that I had was sort of like the star, and then this blue, absolutely gorgeous satin fabric, as well as the wallpaper, this absolutely darling little vintage image holding her dolly. These books are like springtime, but yet also, you know, if a little girl had a little journal full of all of her little sewing ideas, or, you know, a young lady, which was kind of the theme that I was going with these books. And I didn't mention that in the previous video, but that was sort of my inspiration, was either someone who loves to sew or wants to sew or is dreaming up dresses and things for her dollies, that sort of thing, like a little playtime kind of fun little book. I hope that makes sense. I did a faux little envelope here on the cover, lots of little collaging. I attached some pretty little jewelry pieces, a little chandelier, glass, might even be crystal, I'm not quite sure, but it's from a chandelier, a little vintage button with a rhinestone. There's all kinds of stitching, and I used antique tatting thread to do the stitching on just about everything, and I'll show you that as we go because it was so beautiful to use. And I actually have it right here, which I will show you. I have a couple. This is one, and then I have another one that I don't have very much of left. Is that right here? Oh yeah, hold on, let me show you. This one here. It's just the most beautiful color. So yeah, I used that. And I'll show you here. I used it to sew these little vintage millinery flowers onto this antique piece of lace. And I hope you can see. So that's all real, probably from this era, and then I aged the tape. But the flowers are real, the tatting threads are real, and the book pages are real as well. And then you can see from the ThePixieDustFiles here and here. And then I just gave you a couple of really pretty little journaling cards. If this is going to be a gift, or if there's a particular memory that you want to record in this book, or just to have something pretty to write on. Just love. And then some seam binding. Again, you can see the little buttons have been stitched for fun. And I hope you can just see all of the details. There's some double bows. I don't know if I showed you all of this. There's some beaded fabrics. And then I always like to put something heavy duty, so as you're, you know, working on the book, it's not rubbing on the paper. And then a little antique button and some really pretty gingham here. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up. You can see this book is much larger than the one I just showed. A sweet little pocket with some eyelet, a pretty little vintage button, and then the antique fabrics and little bits are all there. In the pocket, I made this sweet little like a flip, sort of, using a little heart brad And then I just attached some fun journaling papers that you can fan out and write on, and then they close up nice and thin like that, which doesn't take a lot of space. Oh, I had this facing that way, I believe. I love the little rosette kind of peeking out of the top of the book. I just think that's so cute and fun. And then, let's see. These books have things for you to play with. Here is some book pages, some of this vintage wallpaper that I love, my favorite yellow wallpaper, and then from the Pixie Dust Files, a little Dolly tag. I did have fun with my stamps. This is a vintage sewing machine. And then look at this little tiny pair of scissors. I think I got that at Hobby Lobby. A pretty little pink ribbon, one of her little dollies. And then the last thing that I added, which I absolutely love, is this toy sewing machine advertisement for $3.60. And this is from a book I have, and it's real. It's not a scan, but isn't that fun? Just love it. I would have loved to have had a little sewing machine like that. Could have probably helped with my sewing skills, maybe. And then the journaling pages are just, this is some of that linen paper that was tea dyed. I collaged some book pages, stamping. There's tabs to help you find your way. I love adding these little tags. This, I used my real vintage ledger stamp, which I have right here. And I used the $, and then 41 1/4 on some antique paper. And there's a little piece of preserved tape from something that I saved. And again, just tea dyed. And then behind this little, well, it's a book page, but I did put this darling little image of a little girl and her doll. And in this little tuck spot here, some more vintage book pages that looks like math, some wallpaper, a little dolly dress for you to journal on, or maybe you have some fabrics and you want to make a little play skirt. So there's that, and a little Easter card. And I love this one because she's decorating the bunnies, which is something we did as kids because my mom made dolls, so we had all kinds of bonnets and we would put them on the cats, which they probably didn't like, but that brought us much laughter. And there's even pictures of that. And then on the other side of that is, oh, okay, I was like, why is it so thick? Well, it's because I made this notepad, which I'll show you. But again, book pages, some more Pixie Dust Files here. This is some really old antique trim, and it's little knotted balls. It's just the most gorgeous trim. So I couldn't glue it. It's definitely old. I didn't age it at all. So I stitched it onto the paper using one of the tattings that I just showed you. And then in this pocket here, I made this little like flip style notepad, and it's got a little stamp and some fun little tickets and things in the pocket, and then some vintage ledger. I recently made friends with this really fun person here in Michigan. We are becoming fast friends, and she has the most amazing collection of vintage office supplies that I'm going to be selling here in my Etsy shop. You're going to see some really beautiful things coming up. So I say stay tuned if that is something that you are interested in. Beautiful antique papers. Love the rubber stamps. It's just such a beautiful thing to stamp on. And then here are some really beautiful bonnets, which I added to this pocket because I feel like this trim would have been on one of these bonnets. And I don't know if you can see it up close. how these are just, they're like tiny miniature balls of string. I don't know how they made it, but it's so cool. So these books, I'm having so much fun with all of my antique trims and embroideries, things like this that I've been hoarding, my little millinery flowers, but these books just call for these antique things, and so it's been really fun to have a place to use them in, right? And be able to show off their beauty. Some really fun Amity Bloom papers, and on the other side is a writing page, a journaling page rather. This is a washi tape that I have. Ooh, there's a little scrap of these antique scissors, but on this page I kind of did like a little tent, right? Like it's open here and you can just, I had this hanging on one side. I didn't want to cover up the rows, so that's how the page looks. And then on the other side is the fabric. Or you could do it the other way if you wanted to. That's for the owner of this book to have fun with. But here you can see how I use the tatting to sew the button onto this page. And then on one side, again, you can see the antique laces. And then I just gave you some pretty little journaling cards in this little tuck spot. And then again, the fabrics on the other. So really fun. And then there's plenty of room for you to journal. You can see the stitching with the old tatting right there. So fun. And so yeah, I think I like the lace on this side with the rose. I just think that looks pretty. And then I gave you a piece of this gorgeous wallpaper, which was probably made for kitchens because it has a little stove also. But isn't that fun, the little teacup? Just love it with the pink. Not sure the age of this one, but you can definitely tell it's old. And I just have that right under there. And then on this side, you can see the stamping. Oh, and then this book has 2 signatures, as you can see here, hopefully. So it's much larger than, well, it has more pages than the other little one that I just did. So a little pocket here with a little Valentine, this little cutie, ready for a story. Stamping with the sample stamps, this little doll stamp. You can see I did the inking, splattering. These are your pages that you have to journal on. My favorite pink paper. This is some beautiful doily that I printed on vellum. And then inside here is Lala's Doll Shop, which was really the inspiration for both of these books. And if this is one that you don't have of Debrina's that you want from the Pixie Dust Files, I will find out and link it below. Or you could just message her if this was one that you all wanted. I'm not sure if this is in her Etsy. Sometimes she does like a special sale only through PayPal. But it's one to have if you don't have it. So, although she did just put out a little bunny one that I can't wait to work with. But this is one of her other bunny ones that says she loved bunnies. And this was the cover of the little book that I just showed. But that other little picture just stole my heart. And so I thought this would go really well with this book as we approach Easter. Very exciting, yes. And then this is some of the vintage office supplies that I'm going to be showing coming up. And you can tell how old it is, but yet it's in perfect condition. So that's going to be really fun videos coming up in just a few days too. That's not far away at all. I'm already preparing for that. So this is the center of the first signature. There's a little scrap paper in here. And so behind this little tuck spot are some more journaling, but let me show you the page first. There's a little stamped mannequin, more little samples, all kinds of fabrics in this book to inspire you. to maybe use some fabrics that you have in your collection that you've never used before, or maybe you don't know how to use. A little book like this is so fun because you can just add a little piece of it to any one of these journaling things, and you can enjoy it, especially if it's something that's sitting in a drawer or in a closet and it doesn't have a home. These books are the perfect place for you to store all of these things that you may have. Or maybe you've wanted to purchase fabric, but you just don't know what to do with it. Well, you can always buy little lots. You can buy just a half a yard of some. Look at this antique gingham right here. This is from a rag ball. So fun. There's all kinds of fabric in the world and all kinds of shapes and sizes that you can play and have fun with. And this is the perfect book to do that in. You can see here just little tiny embroideries, little tattings. This is all hand done on a silk handkerchief, some stamping, and it's just so pretty to look at. And you can add a picture here, write a story, and it just becomes something beautiful to hand down or to just use, just to have on your desk. These books have just been kind of hanging out in my studio, and they're so pretty to look at. I never get tired of these images, and let me tell you, you will forget about the news. I was joking. Oh, excuse me. I recently taught some ladies how to make books, and it's so fun. And we were joking around because it's like, Trump who? Like, you just forget about everything when you're working with these beautiful papers, and I love that. So here is another little tuck spot. Again, some more really pretty wallpapers from my collection, which I just love using them, right? And you don't have to have a lot. Look at the little girl and her dolly. So sweet, so fun. These are some more papers from the ThePixieDustFiles. Some of her end papers make beautiful stationery papers. She gives you all kinds of little labels and journaling cards. So fun. And then again, the vintage office supplies. This is from 1908. And look at the condition of this paper. This woman kept these things so pristine. You're not going to believe the condition. Her name is Irene, and I'm going to do a whole video dedicated to it. But it's fun. It's been fun using these in my work, sort of getting used to them. And then also, you know, using them in my work so that I can show you how to use them. So fun. And I would show you that book that I just took that from. Do I have it right here? Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you. Okay, so this page, hold on. Now, she gifted me this, and I think she has several of these. Look at this book from 1912, sorry. Look at the condition of this book. You just wouldn't believe it. And I have the story written down, so I'm not going to tell it here right now, but when I do the video, you will hear about how she came across these things and how she's been storing them. But look at this book, 1912, and it looks like you just bought it at the office place. And what's amazing is the way that they built things. Like, this is some gorgeous linen tape. I mean, this thing is built to last. It's in impeccable condition. You just can't even believe it. It's just the coolest. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So fun. So yeah, so that goes in there. Moving right along. Let's see. Okay, and then this side is like a little paper doll. Look how cute this is. You can see the Amity Bloom paper right there. Oops. The Amity Bloom, and I just made a little pocket right under here. And then I had some fun fussy cutting little dollies. There's a little dress for you to play with. And then this book, all of my books always come with an extra bag of goodies. And so I didn't have time to die cut little fun things, but I did fussy cut some cute little paper dolls. And look how cute they are, just sitting in this little pocket, just like so. And you can certainly have fun with this little dress. You could trace this little dress maybe onto some printed papers to get more little dresses. So fun. And then here's one of Debrina's tags with a little dress, and you can see the vintage tatting. You can see how it just makes this look so fun because it's real. And that's what I just love right now, working with all of the antique things. It's just been really fun. I go into stages where I like the pink and the gold and the tulle, and then I'll go into the shabby tattered. It's so fun. Here's some more really old wallpaper for you to play with in there. And then on this side, just keeping with the paper dolls, there are some more fun things, and I'll take everything out so you can see. The first thing is this fun tape measure. Now that's modern, but every, sewing seamstress needs to have that. And then I did pair some vintage laces onto here. Really, really pretty. A little shoe for inspiration down here. And then this shoe advertisement, which I absolutely love. Ready for a little picture on the other side. I always think a little grandbaby or a little dolly would be so cute on one of those. And then in the pocket, this is the pocket right here, I did a sewing card. And I was also given a whole bunch of buttons, so that's going to be part of these beautiful antique videos that I'll be doing. More inspiration for maybe dress ideas. I love this pink dress right here. Well, and the blue one too. Just so pretty. A little paper doll journaling card with a little piece of some tatting and some antique fabric. This is some vintage grosgrain from my mom's studio. Oh wait, that goes on this side. Hold on, I took everything, but that's for this side. Okay, and then when you turn the page again, another little fabric trim card. This little dolly, which I have had for so long, I've never used them, so it was fun to have a little dolly book. A little children's thimble with tied onto the velvet, and there you can see the tatting, how it just makes such a beautiful stitching, right? It just looks so real. And then fans of the period, well, it is real, it doesn't look real. And then this journaling card goes in this little pocket. But of course the owner can put these wherever she may like. Moving right along, journaling pages. I did stamp a little vintage shoe in pink just for fun and interest. A little label for fun. A little antique millinery and a yardage sample card. Again, another little fussy cut inspiration for paper dolls, but of course you can journal. This is that linen paper. And then of course she reads, so a magazine of fine art and some more ephemera journaling cards for you to play with. And then this is the beginning of the second signature with just some stamping, more inspiration. And so you can see here just the pairing of some fabrics just are so pretty and delicate and feminine. This is one of the journaling tags from the Lala's Doll Shop, but a really good example of just adding some fabric. This is some really pretty wallpaper. I don't have a lot of this one. It's got that really fun wallpaper texture to it. And then I have these JCPenney, old JCPenney price tags. And so I just put one of those on there for fun. And then this is, again, to give you inspiration. Maybe you have a favorite dress and it's not wearable anymore, but you love the fabric. It has memory purposes. You know what I mean. Sentimental, there we go. It has sentimental value. Well, this is the perfect place for you to put a little of that fabric in. All my books lately, these vintage ones, are getting these little yo-yos that I love to make. And this is something I do in bed at night. I just have my scissors. There's some little jewelry findings here. And when I'm too tired to work, I will make yo-yos. Or sometimes I paint. If you didn't know I paint, I have another Etsy shop. The link is, where is the link? The link is in my Etsy listings. It's in my About Me. It's called the Sunroom Gallery. It's on, maybe I'll put a link down below. I just put some hand-painted note cards in there. And then I also have some printed note cards as well. So if you wanted to see my paintings, they're totally different than this type of work. But I have been trying to put more things in that shop because I love to paint and I haven't done much with it recently, and so I've been inspired to kind of, you know, do something with it here. Here you can see I had fun with one of Debrina's digitals, where I fussy cut this trim out and trimmed my little pocket. And then this antique paper is so fun to stamp on. It just absorbs the ink right away. Now, Carol, if you're watching, these stamps are from you. And this is a little hint of your book that's going to be coming to you shortly that I've been working on for a year now, which is sort of embarrassing, but I've just had a lot going on. But that will be in the mail shortly. And the good news is I was able to use these really fun little stamps in this little Dolly book. And so I gave you those just for fun. What else is in here? A really sweet little journaling card, which I love this gingham fabric right now. One of Debrina's gorgeous little tags. And then look at this paper doll. She's all ready for some clothing. And this is just a very simple, you don't need a lot of fabric at all. In fact, I can kind of show you with just some scraps I have right here. I'll just use this piece of lace here. You can just bunch this up and run a straight stitch, and there you have a skirt. It's so easy. Do you see that? So, now that you see how easy that is, you have a little paper doll to hopefully make some clothes for her. And look how cute she looks just sitting in that little pocket. I just absolutely love that part of this book. And then, of course, one of Debrina's gorgeous little dresses hanging from her little Playtime with Dolly house. Again, more fabric trim pieces. And then this little brass button with these buttons literally came from an old Sewing Notions tin box full of buttons, and I just attached it just like that. So this is probably as old as some of these images here, which I just think is so cool. And then this flips up again. You've got all this journaling, happy everything I stamped on the other side, and a little brass heart at the top for fun. A little, this is modern, but I rusted it. Little bow clip. And then this is one of my favorite things in this whole book. And I'm going to undo the bow clip so you can see it. I don't know how that got in there, but it's okay. All right. So it's just a book page, right? It's the other side of the book page. And then I used this clip and I stamped this really fun vintage sewing machine. Just a little card for you to write in. And then I made this little, it's just a little folder. So I'm going to undo it. And this is some really beautiful wool thread, which is tucked too far back. I can't show it to you, but Let me show you. It has this teeny tiny little baby tag, again using the vintage tatting, and then I hand stamped this sweet little toy Dolly. I made her the little skirt with the vintage millinery, and then I put some little scraps for you inside to play with. So now you have something to make a little skirt for the little paper dolly. So isn't that fun? And this is folded in half, so you have all kinds of things to play with. And maybe you want to, you know, just make little fun things, I don't know. Or just keep it as a sweet little collection of pretty things. And then to tie it, I just hold the tag right at the side there, and then I wrap this around, and that's how you tie. Although you can adjust that little tag. So if it doesn't, I like the little tag right on the edge there. Let me show you real quick. But you can slide it. It's not sewn or anything. You can slide it. I like it hanging because it does look like a little toy. Anyway, this is my favorite part of this whole book, or one of them. But I just love turning the page and seeing her in twirl. It just looks like such a sweet little toy moment. Like so. Oh wait, no, I don't like to have it on her head like that. Hold on. Let me fix it. Let's put it over here. Yeah. Well, it would be good if you did it to the paper. Yeah, so... Oh, no, wait. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Come on, Maria. I think I had it up here so that... Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, moving right along. Again, another one of Debrina's little dresses. Again, it's so fun to decorate these. This is in her shop as well. All of her dress digitals will go with these books. And I've mentioned this before, all of her digitals just go absolutely beautiful together. And so there's that. If you already have her digitals and you want this book, they'll all go together. There's the gingham fabric, again, more stitching, buttons. And then this is the center of the second signature. And it's some more wallpaper. This one's modern. It's this really pretty floral, but it's super durable. And so I love that. And so in the first pocket here, another one of her journaling cards, this beautiful advertisement of the sewing machine, some vintage book pages, a recipe, hold on, buttermilk pie, and the crust, that's always good to have, cherry supreme, and pecan chess pie. That's really a good recipe to have. And then some more beautiful journaling cards and places for you to journal, and a little piece of this rose wallpaper, which I like to have both sides interesting inside this pocket. So you have lots of stuff to play with and look at on each side, and the same for this side. So a vintage Harper's Bazaar, that is a scan. Some more wallpaper and this really fun scissor advertisement. And I think I had this like that. Nope, I had it like that. Because I like to have both sides with something pretty to look at. And then here you can see, oh, that didn't go well. Okay, I'll do that after. These are just some more really pretty vintage fabrics. And you can tell they're just by feeling them. And these pockets have been machine stitched. I can't talk. Okay, I didn't make anything in there. And then here I did some stamping and made some stationery. How fun is this? And I did attach it to here, so you've got a little notepad. I attached it with this silk ribbon, And it's just these little scissors. I hope you can see everything. And this is just a little vintage graph block of paper, which is really fun. More journaling pages, more fun things for you to play with, more millinery flowers, vintage fabrics that have been ruched, and then inside this little bonnet, oh, I did make a little thing. Okay, I forgot. This one I made a while ago. This is a little corset tag trio. There's 3 of them here. And you can see they're just held together with some of that tatting, ready for a little story. Isn't that cool? I just love that. Another advertisement here. And then this I forgot about. This is a little, and here you can see these paper clips are so strong. These are the vintage ones. So different using those than the ones we have today. They're so cheap, the ones we have today. I'm not going to open this, but I embossed a dress form, and then there's sequins and buttons and snaps and all kinds of notions inside this fun little dress form. And then I added a piece of vintage card to give it some, you know, sturdiness. And so we've got that. Another dress form that I had fun with, giving you inspiration along the way. Some beautiful pink paper, little hand-stamped tabs. This is a really pretty floral charm with some pretty beads, some rhinestones, super sparkly rhinestones as well. And then another little pocket of inspiration. More of this beautiful wallpaper. These are Sampool stamps here, if you didn't recognize them. So fun to have her stamps in a collection. Another really pretty little card, ready for a story with some stamping. Some vintage graph paper, which looks so beautiful. This is a scanned embroidered rose from a doily, which I just love, the rose hanging out in there. And then another piece of ephemera with a little girl and her dolly. So sweet, so cute. And I love the little rose in there. And this is the last page here. And then the very back page is one of Amity Bloom's beautiful envelopes. I showed you this part already, but I love having it on the other side. A little shoe with a pearl. My signature is right here. And then in this pocket, you have your own paper doll to fussy cut out and put together, if you so choose. You have all kinds of little fabric trim cards, ready for a story. And you can use the fabrics, labels, a pattern printed on tracing paper, which is really fun. Another little trim card with some antique fabrics and lace. So there's 2 of those. And then this is a little floating pocket, which can go anywhere in the book. I had the most room in this back here, and then some stamping, and then some journal pages to have fun with. This is French. A pretty little frame, like a little dollhouse frame. Oh, there we go. Don't show it backwards. And some pretty florals. Maybe you have an old picture of a family member or yourself from the days gone by that would be so pretty behind this frame, or a newer picture that would go really well in a book like this, or not. These books are made to be used and have fun with. And that concludes the flip through. I know this was kind of a long one, but there's a lot of stuff in these books. And I have to show everything because it's so hard with the 10 pictures from Etsy, and then even the little video they give you. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I have to change something on my phone to do that with. So thank you all so very much if you have stayed with me all the way through this video. I'm so very blessed by each and every one of you that follow me and have left me comments. I'm so grateful. And I know I've mentioned this before, but it's really important that I say thank you to all of you for just following me here or at Instagram. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you in the next videos coming up, where I am going to feature these amazing vintage office supplies for all of us to play with. So have a great rest of your day, and thank you so very much again, everyone. Bye for now.